So the pile chimneys were constructed in approximately 1947 in support of the UK's weapons programme. At that time, John Cockcroft, or Professor Cockcroft, went across to the USA and observed some activities across there and identified the filters adjacent to the reactors that were there. And he insisted when he came back to the UK that we put filters on the pile chimneys. Because the pile chimneys were constructed at that time, those filters had to be mounted over 100 metres up in the air. Post the fire in 1957, both reactors were shut down. That's Pile 1 and Pile 2.
The Pile Chimney 1 experienced the fire in 1957 and as a result was quite heavily contaminated with radiological material. It's only now and after a prolonged period of time that that radiation and contamination has naturally decayed to an extent that it's safe for us to operate and access the chimney and in its surrounding areas. Our most significant challenges for demolition of the Pile 1 chimney is basically where it exists in a very congested nuclear site. We've got to deal with an awful lot of infrastructure that exists around the chimney. Access and egress can be restricted. We are operating at 110, 120 metres above ground level, so we've got weather constraints and issues to consider, conventional safety hazards, and we're talking about 5,000 odd tonnes of material that we're going to eventually have to dispose of, and all those elements in themselves are quite significant challenges for us.
Right, so we're now in the Arlimac, which is the sole source of moving materials up and down the chimney in support of the filter gallery removal works. So to date we have moved something in the region of 527 tonnes of concrete and metal waste, and not including the scaffolding components that have been moved to support that work. This obviously has significant impact on how quickly we are able to do the work and drives very much the methodologies, because everything has to be size reduced to fit into the size of cab you can see here.
The biggest challenge is the import and export using Arlimac hoist. It's a 527 tonne structure, the filter gallery as it stands, and we probably put the same tonnage again in scaffolding up in terms of scaffold structures around the exterior. In order to remove the concrete from the structure, we had to drill 4,000 cores, 2,000 roof and 2,000 floor. So we were left with a mesh system because we left the cores in situ, which was then broken out for a cloverleaf system. So whilst the internal shine still remains, what we have done is reduce the risk of dose uptake to the individual. The filter gallery floor was particularly noteworthy, and by removing the concrete and the steel structure and now only being able to access from the level 5, we reduced the risk to operatives accessing the chimney.
Over the next 12 months, people will see some significant changes. For instance, the installation and construction of a tower crane that will span the entire height of the chimney and be connected in at 3 points. So from a distance, that's going to look quite something. Ultimately, the chimney will be brought down to a level 35 metres above ground, in line with its sister chimney, Pile 2. The reason for that is that the stub section at the bottom will ultimately be used to support the reactor demolition in future.
I'd like to thank everybody for their contribution to the pile chimney decommissioning. It's a unique challenge. It's decommissioning a radioactive structure over 100 metres in the air. It's a challenge in anybody's books. Both working with our supply chain and our own teams, we've successfully delivered this project, and my thanks go to everybody concerned.